Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Links are in the description below. Please show some love of the author and me. On to the show. This mask is what we asked those mechanical priests to make. Within this mask, there is a signal shielding position. Any probe signal will be blocked out. Furthermore, we also made Baying engrave a psionic array inside. Even a psionicist can't break through the limit. 99. And after our investigation, Orion is more inclined to the gladiator culture, so on the street, even if you wear a mask, others will only treat you as an ordinary gladiator. It can be said that they have done a lot of homework in order to be able to keep a low profile on Prey Star. Su Yan put on a mask and covered her face. After all, now is different from usual. He has just become the new 10 kings, and he is in the limelight. If this time, being recognized will inevitably cause some trouble. Su Yan didn't plan to stay on Orion for too long, so he should leave after purchasing the supplies. So, the three also took a small spaceship to the starport on Orion. After some registration, they also entered the main city of Orion, Fanatic City. Wow, a lot of people on the street are wearing masks. I was worried that it would be too weird for us to wear masks. But now it seems that compared with the masks of those people, ours is really low-key. Lin Qingyue looked at the pedestrians coming and going on the street, and saw that most of the pedestrians wore masks of various colors on their faces, and some of them had very prominent masks. In comparison, their masks are really mediocre. After all, there is a special profession on Orion called gladiator. This profession has a very noble status on the Orion star, which advocates force. Gladiators generally have a mask of their own, and this mask is a symbol of their identity. Because of this, the mask culture is also very prosperous on Orion, and all kinds of masks can be seen everywhere on Orion. This is the shopping list, starting with the ship parts and maintenance oil that Xiaoyu wants to buy. And then there is the special flower fertilizer that Laidel said. Recently, the Tree of Life has also sprung up and needs a lot of nutrients. Finally, the incubator materials for the Star Dragon egg. Lin Qingyue also listed all the things needed for this purchase. These materials are some relatively special materials, which can only be purchased on this planet with relatively prosperous economic strength. Su Yan also took over the list. These items on the list are not difficult to find. You just need to find a large shopping mall, and basically you can buy them all. Before I came to Orion, I downloaded all the maps of Orion. Let me see, where is the biggest mall here? Found it. Soon, they also came to the largest shopping mall on Orion according to the guidelines on the map. Looking at this wild mall in front of me, I don't know if I thought it was a huge arena. However, there is indeed the biggest arena in the city of Fever in the underground of this mall. But their goal this time is not to watch those gladiator games. The main purpose is to purchase all the materials as soon as possible. After that, they have to go to the Stargate to register, and then use the Storm Stargate. Ding, check-in location detected, Frenzy City. Do you want to sign in? Sign in. Unexpectedly, the sign-in system would actually remind me to sign in at this time. Su Yan also decided to sign in without hesitation. Ding, the sign-in is successful. Congratulations on getting a Qinglong Battle Core ship and a Sun Shard. After seeing the sign-in reward, Su Yan also touched his chin. The reward for signing in this time is a bit small, but this Azure Dragon Battle Core ship caught Su Yan's attention. If Su Yan remembers correctly, this Qinglong Battle Core ship is an extremely magical ship. In addition to having the strength of an ordinary ship, it also incarnates the Temple of the Dragon to carry out infrastructure work. It is a pity that Su Yan is still on the mission of interstellar voyage, and does not have his own planetary territory. If he owns a planetary territory, this Qinglong Battle Core ship may be a big help for himself. It's a pity that it is just a tasteless rib for Su Yan. Su Yan sighed inwardly. This time the sign-in reward made him a little confused. But even so, his current strength is enough to occupy a place in the inner sea. It's time to find a suitable planet as a territory. The sign-in reward this time also reminded Su Yan that it was time for him to find a planet as his own planet territory. With the growing scale of his fleet, he also needs a few planets as his territory to replenish his logistical inventory. It is still a little troublesome to supply the entire fleet just by going out to purchase. Moreover, in a special period, those arms dealers will take the opportunity to raise prices, which is very unfavorable for Lai himself. Thinking of this, Su Yan also began to think, it is time to find a planet as his own planet territory. At this moment, Su Yan also came to the mall. As soon as he entered the mall, he heard a familiar voice. "Oh? That's how you Orions treat customers? It's interesting, call your lord to me before I get angry. You want to fool me with this little thing? Do you still want to do this business?" This sound? Su Yan also followed the sound and looked over, only to see a woman wearing a golden mask looking at a man arrogantly. And this man smiled apologetically, not daring to slack off at all. But at this time, the female 2.6 in the golden mask also looked over like Su Yan. After the two looked at each other, the woman actually walked straight towards Su Yan. Seeing this, Baying next to him also secretly mobilized the power of spiritual energy. But, just after the woman in the golden mask came to Su Yan, she also took off her mask directly, and under the mask revealed a face that Su Yan felt very familiar. And the woman with the golden mask in front of her is the head of the Jin clan, Jin Luo. Jin Luo's eyes were smiling, and she also showed a smile. "Su Yan, long time no see. I didn't expect to see you here. It seems that the two of us are really destined. Stop pretending. Even if you wear a mask, I can still recognize you. I didn't expect this to be recognized by you." Seeing that he was recognized by an acquaintance, Su Yan had no intention of continuing to hide. Hearing Su Yan's familiar voice, Jin Luo's face under the mask also smiled faintly. Unexpectedly, when she went out to Orion on a business trip this time, she was able to meet Su Yan. She thought that the current Su Yan was still with Neptune. But it was a coincidence that Su Yan came to Orion just after finishing the battle on Neptune. At this time, the Orion star who had just smiled apologetically came over. "Presumably this is Miss Jin Luo's friend. Miss Jin Luo's friend is our friend." After all, that Orion star also took out a shopping card. "This is the shopping card of Fever City. As long as you have this card, you can enjoy 50% off in any mall in Fever City." 99. After taking the shopping card, Su Yan was also a little curious about what Jin Luo was doing on Orion. This Orion habitat still treats her with such respect. Jin Luo also seemed to see Su Yan's doubts, and a smile appeared on her face under the mask. Then, Jin Luo glanced at the two people behind Su Yan. Needless to say, one of them must be Lin Qingyue, and the other must be Su Yan's bodyguard, Baying. Jin Luo remembered the figures of these two people very clearly. Jin Luo quietly approached Su Yan and glanced at Lin Qingyue and Baying next to her. When Lin Qingyue saw Jin Luo approaching, she also took a few steps closer like a protector. Although Baying didn't make any moves, her fists were quietly clenched. Seeing this, Jin Luo also gave Su Yan a meaningful look. "Do you want to know, what am I doing on Orion?" "In no mood." Jin Luo, Jing. Su Yan knew very well that the current Jin Luo had already joined forces with the 7-Star Chamber of Commerce, and the reason why she appeared here was probably related to the actions of the 7-Star Chamber of Commerce. Today's 7-Star Chamber of Commerce, as a new king, will definitely have many Shanghai races focusing on the 7-Star Chamber of Commerce. And the 7-Star Chamber of Commerce, as a chamber of commerce, the bigger the reputation, the more customers, and the stronger they are. Therefore, the 7 Stars Chamber of Commerce became the new king, which was a beneficial and harmless thing for them. Although I don't know how they got this position, Su Yan just wanted to leave Orion as soon as possible and go to the next galaxy at this time. But Jin Luo obviously didn't plan to let him go, and Jin Luo then grabbed his arm to prevent Su Yan from escaping. Afterwards, Jin Luo looked at the Orion star and said arrogantly, "What I said is already obvious. Otherwise, let your lord come to discuss with me. Otherwise, our deal will be cancelled." Hearing these words, the Orion star also wiped a cold sweat. It seems that he can only go to inform their planet lord. Miss Jean Luo, please wait a moment, I'll go to inform the lord. The Orion star also left here quickly. And when the Orion star left, Jean Luo immediately turned around and pulled Su Yan to a restaurant. After ordering a private room, Jean Luo also sat in front of Su Yan. On the surface, I am representing the 7-star Chamber of Commerce to do business with Orion, but in fact, what I represent should be the meaning of the Libra Empire. Libra Empire? Hearing this familiar name, Su Yan couldn't help frowning. What's the situation? How did the Libra Empire and the 7-star Chamber of Commerce come together? And this time, the 7 Stars Chamber of Commerce came to trade with Orion, and it was the meaning of the Libra Empire, which made him a little confused. To put it bluntly, Orion has recently purchased a large amount of military materials. You should also know that, because of the rampant Iron Man, the ancient empire has strict control over a large number of military materials, and Orion's sudden purchase of a large amount of military materials will definitely attract the attention of the ancient empire. This time, I used the export of military materials in exchange to test Orion's tone. However, when I come to Orion, I can be sure that Orion must have a deal with Iron Man. As soon as these words came out, even Su Yan turned his attention to Jean Luo. Is she so sure that Orion has a deal with Iron Man? This is not a trivial matter. If Orion is wronged, then they will face the revenge of the ancient empire, and Jean Luo understood Su Yan's suspicious gaze. The matter of Iron Man is related to the safety of the entire Shanghai, so he will naturally be very cautious. But then, Jean Luo sent a document to Su Yan. I have to say, it's a very wise thing for you to keep a low profile on Orion this time. Because, the internal network of Orion has listed you as the most wanted object. That is to say, as long as you appear on Orion, someone will surely come to arrest you. Hearing these words, Su Yan couldn't help frowning. After thinking about it, he didn't seem to have anything to do with Orion before. So why does Orion list itself as the most wanted target? Did they really collude with Iron Man? You must know that you are listed as the most wanted object in Iron Man's database, and those Iron Man can't wait for 093 to burn themselves to ashes. And now Orion's database also has its own news, and he is also listed as the most wanted object, which is difficult not to associate them with Iron Man. Su Yan touched his chin. This kind of thing would rather be trusted than not, and the friendship between Jean Luo and herself, she couldn't use such information to deceive herself. After thinking about it, Su Yan decided to believe her. I'll keep an eye out. Afterwards, Jean Luo also nodded. She didn't expect to meet Su Yan here, but she did, so she was obliged to remind her. It would be bad if he didn't even know when he fell into the trap of the Orion people. After leaving the restaurant, Su Yan and Jean Luo also parted ways. Jean Luo will continue to talk to the Orion Star Lord in order to be able to obtain key information, and Su Yan continued to go to the mall to buy the materials he needed. When passing a trash can, Su Yan also threw the shopping cart in it. After all, this shopping cart was given to him by the Orion, and if there was anything in it that revealed his identity, it would be bad. After Jean Luo's reminder, Su Yan also understood that the Orion star in front of him was not safe. Buy as soon as possible and get out of here. The three also came all the way to the interior of the mall and began to purchase the required materials. During this period, they are also very low-key and will not reveal their identity information at all. Even the purchased materials are sent to the starport and then transported to the ship by their spaceship. Finally, when they purchased the last batch of supplies, Su Yan was also relieved. Next, it is to register the Stargate. But if you go to register the Stargate now, you will definitely expose your identity. This made Su Yan's brows furrowed. Next, what method should they use to pass through the Stargate? If the Orion people are now looking for themselves, they will definitely not let their fleet pass through the Stargate easily. Is it possible that I have to detour to other galaxies and borrow the Stargates of other galaxies? But since then, it will take him several months to reach the coordinates of the Garden of Eden. At this moment, Su Yan's technological wrist also rang. Su Yan opened the technology wrist and found that it was actually a message from Jin Luo. Run! Lord Orion has discovered your fleet. Now, they have sent an escort and are searching for your whereabouts. Get out of the storm galaxy before they find you. Seeing the information on the tech watch, Su Yan couldn't help frowning. Immediately afterwards, Su Yan also turned around and said to Lin Qingyue and the others, "Our fleet has been discovered. Let's get out of here now." Hearing this sentence, Lin Qingyue also frowned. Is it possible that the Star Lord of Orion has become Iron Man's lackey? In this case, the ancient empire will not let him go. And Su Yan touched her head. Now the only people Orion is targeting are us, and even the ancient empire will not do it easily until there is no definite evidence. Before they start a large-scale search, we should leave Orion from Star Harbor as soon as possible. But if these Orion guys push too hard, then don't blame Su Yan for being rude. Although Su Yan doesn't want to cause too much trouble, if these guys have to hit the gun, Su Yan will shoot without hesitation. In the hall of Lord Orion, Jin Luo sat opposite the Orion Lord, both with polite smiles on their faces. And Lord Orion also crossed his fingers and looked at Jin Luo very indifferently. I heard that Your Excellency Jin Luo has a close relationship with Su Yan, the new king. If I arrest your friend with such a big fanfare, you won't be angry. Hearing this sentence, Jin Luo also had a fake smile on her face and answered very calmly. You have to know that I'm a businessman's best friend, with only interests. Su Yan and I are just business clients and friends. As long as you, Lord, sign a trade order with me, you are also my friend. Speaking of this, the Star Lord of Orion also laughed, and then looked at Jin Luo. Their Orion has also recently acquired a large number of alloy materials. However, the alloy materials they acquired are often important core materials for building ship weapons, so they are also very strictly controlled among the major chambers of commerce. In particular, the Libra Empire will strictly monitor the whereabouts of these materials, lest some lawbreakers want to use this to expand their armaments. It becomes more difficult to acquire these alloy materials in large quantities. So now the Lord of Orion is also very distressed. After all, it is not easy to get a lot of alloy materials. At this time, Jin Luo, on behalf of the 7-Star Chamber of Commerce, came to the door. Even if he felt that there were some problems, he had to meet her. What's the price of your alloy materials over there? Hearing this sentence, Jin Luo also raised the corner of her mouth slightly, and Yuer finally couldn't help taking the bait. Therefore, Jin Luo also said very calmly. We have enough alloy stocks here, and we can guarantee that after you buy these alloy materials, even the Libra Empire will not find it. Of course, since we've all done this, the price will naturally be much higher. The price of this batch of alloys will be sold to you at 3 times the market price. After all, you are well aware of the risks involved. Of course, we believe that it is certainly easy to buy these alloys, with Orion's economic strength. After listening to Jin Luo's words, the Orion Star Lord not only was not angry, but heaved a sigh of relief. He originally thought that the 7 Stars Chamber of Commerce was dispatched by the ancient empire to find out what he said. But in fact, the 7 Stars Chamber of Commerce just wanted to make a fortune by taking this opportunity. Sure enough, the best friend of a businessman is a prophet. However, this also made the Lord of Orion put down his psychological alert. In this case, I won this batch of alloy materials. Certainly. After signing the transaction order, Jin Luo also raised the corner of her mouth slightly. Now that her mission has been completed, the batch of alloys in Star Harbor has some passive hands and feet. As for where these alloys will be shipped to in the end, this is not my concern. His task is only to sell this batch of alloys to the Orion Star Lord. As long as the Orion Lord sends someone to transport these alloy materials away, the spies of the Libra Empire will naturally follow quickly and pursue the whereabouts of these alloy materials. Of course, whether or not we can get the key evidence in the end depends on the spies of the Libra Empire. After signing the contract, Jean Luo also smiled. Looks like I didn't choose the wrong person. Exactly, I brought a batch of alloy materials from Shingon, and I will slowly ship the rest in batches. Of course, according to the rules here, Lord, you still need to pay a deposit, otherwise our brothers will be waiting to eat. 5. After hearing these words, Lord Orion also glanced at Jean Luo. Jean Luo behaved like a profiteer who took advantage of the situation. But it was she who acted like a profiteer that made Lord Orion more reassuring. I will also credit the deposit to your account. I hope you can ship the remaining alloy materials as soon as possible. When the time comes, I will send the balance payment to you as soon as possible. Jean Luo also nodded, indicating that there was no problem. On the other side, Su Yan and the others also came to Shingon. However, when they came to Shingon, they couldn't help but frown. I don't know when, a large number of Orion soldiers appeared on the side of Shingon. The Orion soldiers are checking the identity of the surrounding Xinghai races. It seems that their goal should be to capture Su Yan. Stop. Raid inspection, everyone is not allowed to step into the starport for half a step. If someone wants to trespass into Shingon, don't blame our men for being merciless. They are all standing outside the yellow line, queuing up for our investigation. As long as you are not the people we are looking for, we will naturally let you go. Many Orion soldiers also surrounded the inside and outside of the starport. This time, let alone sneak in, even if you want to bypass their field of vision and get close to the spacecraft, it is not an easy task. Seeing the other side's battle, Su Yan is even more certain that Jean Luo's news is not false. The Lord of Orion has no grievances with him, but he wants to capture him so madly, there must be a shadow of Iron Man in it. And Bai Ying glanced at the Orion soldiers surrounding Shingon, and frowned slightly. Then, she also looked at Su Yan. Captain, do you need my help? If I make a move, I can kill all these Orion soldiers on the spot in 1 minute. I have just probed, although the number of 093 of these soldiers is large, but there is no psionicist. As long as I do my best, it will be enough to suppress these soldiers and allow us to successfully return to the spaceship. 35. Hearing these words, Su Yan also narrowed his eyes slightly. At this moment, a layer of killing intent has risen in his heart. Looking at the posture of these soldiers, if you fall into their hands, it is estimated that the end will not be much better. Although Su Yan said that he did not want to get into too much trouble, it did not mean that he was afraid of these Orion soldiers. Su Yan was about to let Bai Ying do it. With his and Bai Ying's psychic powers, he would overturn the blockade of these Orion soldiers. It was an easy task, but at this moment, Su Yan's tech watch sounded again. And this time, it was actually a message from Ling Bing. Sorry, Captain, a large number of Orion ships have been found around our fleet. And these ships seem to have some bad people. DG said that these ships were hacking into the Hyperion ship control system, but they were intercepted by her. Hack into the ship control system. This act can already be regarded as a declaration of war. It seems that these guys move really fast. After they discovered their own fleet, they also decisively dispatched their own ships. Su Yan touched his chin. Originally, he planned to forcibly break through the blockade of these soldiers, and then return to his ship through the spaceship. But now it seems that his fleet has been surrounded by ships of Orion. The act of driving the spaceship back to the ship by himself is undoubtedly giving those Orion ships a chance to capture him alive. Therefore, Su Yan also pressed the plan to break through the blockade in his heart. It seems that Lord Orion is not going to let me go back. Su Yan sneered, since the other party had already torn his face. Then you don't need to hold back any longer. Ling Bing, I allow you to lead the Longing fleet to fight back. DG, you are responsible for cooperating with her, and we must not let our fleet have too many losses. There is one last one. If you can wipe out all the others' fleets, don't leave a living hole. As soon as these words came out, Ling Bing and DG in the Hyperion also smiled slightly. They have been waiting for this order for a long time. Those guys kept hacking the control systems of longing ships, trying to take their ships without a single soldier. If it wasn't for Su Yan's order, perhaps they would have been unable to resist the direct fire to attack. But now that they have it, Su Yan has given the order to allow a counterattack, so they don't have to worry about it anymore. Among the Orion fleet on the opposite side, the captain of the flagship also looked at his crew. What's the situation? It's been so long, haven't you cracked the control system of the opposite ship? Report to the captain, we have organized hundreds of systematic attacks, but they were all intercepted by the ship protection system on the opposite side. Hearing this sentence, Captain Orion also touched his chin. It was actually blocked. It seems that the ship system of SS-class ships is really powerful. But so what? Can it block hundreds of system attacks? Can it block thousands or even tens of thousands of system attacks? At this moment, one of the crew members under his command also said cautiously, "Captain, we are going to invade their ship system with such a big fanfare, wouldn't it annoy them?" Yes, the Longing Fleet is a newly promoted Heavenly King level force. If we invade their ship system in such a high-profile manner, will it provoke a counterattack? Fight back? All he wants is a counterattack. Just now, they also received a message from the Lord, asking them to keep the Longing Fleet in the Storm Galaxy at all costs. Of course, it is best to let the Longing Fleet strike first, so that they have a reason to counterattack head-on, and mobilize a large number of fleets to attack Su Yan's fleet. As long as they can keep the Dragon Hidden Fleet in the Storm Galaxy, their mission has been completed. What Heavenly King level forces? The Longing Fleet just borrowed the morale of the Crazy Shark Pirates and the Ghosts and Ghosts mercenary group. He is a small fleet with only a few hundred ships. Does he really think he is the new 10 kings of the Inner Sea? When they counterattack, we will have a legitimate reason, so even if the Shark Pirates and the Ghost mercenary group are guilty, we will have sufficient reasons. In the eyes of the Orion people who advocate force, the strength of the Longing Fleet is simply not enough to become a new king-level force. The reason why it can become a new king-level force is only because it has the support of the Mad Shark Pirate Group and the Ghost Mercenary Group. Do you really think that you are a new king-level force? Hundreds of ships, also equipped? But at this moment, the Hyperion on the opposite side also slowly turned the ship's direction and aimed directly at Orion's fleet. Seeing this, the captain of Orion also waved his hand. Immediately disperse your ships and aim at the flagship on the opposite side. As long as the opponent has the intention to fire, attack immediately. By the way, remember to open the video of the battle. Don't ask the pirates of the sharks and the mercenaries of gods and ghosts, so we can explain it. Orion's ships also disperse quickly, so that the probability of being bombarded can be reduced as much as possible. But in the Hyperion, DG also raised the corners of her mouth slightly. Ridiculous. Are they thinking that this method can withstand the artillery fire of the Hyperion? DG, since Su Yan has already ordered, we don't need to show mercy, you know. Ling Bing, the first mate, also looked at DG. After the two eyes crossed briefly in the air, they also understood. For a time, violent energy gathered in the Hyperion. The powerful energy is also directly concentrated in the Yamato cannon. The Yamato cannon emitted a faint gleam, but it was this faint gleam that made all the ships of the Orion Star tense. They have all heard of the brilliant record of Su Yan's flagship, the Hyperion. He also knew the powerful power of the Yamato cannon, so the moment they saw the Yamato cannon lit up, everyone's nerves were also tense. Great, they finally couldn't help but get ready to do it. All ships ready to target him at once, ready to attack. Don't be merciless, hit me hard, it's better to directly destroy the opponent in one round. Turn on the space jamming device to prevent enemy ships from making space transitions at all times. Seeing the Hyperion preparing to fire, the captain of the Orion fleet also showed a sly smile. Before he came, he had already done a lot of homework. Among the previous battles, Su Yan's ship Hyperion is most notable for its many space jumps and invincible Yamato guns. And according to their data, the maximum number of space jumps of the Hyperion can reach more than 5 times, which is an extremely terrifying number. But the data did not state that 5 jumps were the upper limit of the Hyperion. Therefore, if they want to find out the weakness of the Hyperion, they can only start from another aspect. Yamato Cannon. According to the information they gathered, the Hyperion's cannons had 2 modes. One is normal mode and the other is overload mode. Of course, a single shot from the Yamato guns in overload mode is enough to destroy any of their ships. But the cannon has a very fatal weakness, that is, its charging time is much longer than that of ordinary artillery fire. This also gave them the opportunity to attack the Hyperion at the same time as the cannons were fired, as long as they anticipated in advance. From this, you can play an injury-for-injury situation. They do not believe that the Hyperion can also perform space jumps during the firing of the Yamato cannon. Injury for injury was completely worthwhile for them, and the Hyperion was paralyzed at the expense of several ships. This is undoubtedly a very cost-effective tactic for them. Boom! At this moment, the Yamato cannon aimed at their ship and fired it directly. And many ships have also received orders long ago, and a large number of artillery fire was launched directly towards the Hyperion. They were right, firing the flagship at Yamato, even the Hyperion wouldn't be able to move easily. But they overlooked that even if the Hyperion stood and let them fight, they wouldn't necessarily be able to break the defense. You know, the Hyperion is not only equipped with a void shield, but also has enhanced armor, such as recycled steel. Although the Hyperion can use space jump to avoid most of the damage. But that doesn't mean Su Yan won't be armed on its armor. Rumbling. Along with a series of artillery fire, dazzling flames erupted from the Hyperion. After the flames dissipated, something astonishing happened. I saw that the Hyperion was quietly suspended in space, and the armor on her body was only slightly damaged, and this damage is quickly repaired under the action of recycled steel, and it looks like new. Oh, I thought these guys had any skills? That's not enough to scratch me. DG was a little disdainful. These guys could think of using the Yamato cannon to launch an attack. Suffice it to say that they still have some research on the Hyperion. But, who knows that their artillery fire hasn't even broken the Hyperion. It's so rude. I thought the Orion Star Fleet could give him a surprise, but in fact she still overestimated them. Ding! At this moment, in the communication channel, Su Yan's figure also appeared in front of DG and Ling Bing. When the two saw Su Yan's sudden contact, their hearts tightened. Did something happen to Su Yan? In the picture, Su Yan is wearing a mask. At this moment, he is standing in a wilderness, and in the distance is a bustling city of fanaticism. Captain, do you have any instructions? Su Yan's sudden contact with them must have something important to announce. And Su Yan in the picture is also not in a hurry. Have you resolved Orion's fleet? We have already started the war. If you are in a hurry, Captain, I can turn on the overload mode to crush them. This sentence came from DG's mouth. No one would doubt DG's strength in overload mode. And Su Yan's tone is still very normal. Then, he said to DG and Ling Bing, next, I ask you to annihilate the enemy fleet as soon as possible. Then, before the enemy reinforcements arrive, attack Orion. And the goal this time is to drop a tactical nuclear bomb on Fever City. Those guys from Orion are pressing step by step, and Su Yan is not a good person. He thought about it carefully, since there is no way to use the Stargate of Orion. Then, I will destroy the entire Orion star by myself. When the Stargate is in an unknown state, you can use it as you want. And Orion must pay the price for angering himself. He knew very well that there were quite a few forces who were skeptical of himself, the new king. I think that he only succeeded in ascending to the top 10 heavenly kings of the inland sea with the help of the relationship between the crazy shark pirates and the god ghost mercenary group. It is necessary to kill chickens to warn monkeys. And today, Orion will become a square to show its strength. After hearing Su Yan's order, DG's eyes became cold. Are you going to drop a tactical nuke? In this case, I can no longer continue to make small troubles. Looks like we're going to get serious. As soon as these words came out, Ling Bing was also sitting in the command position, and a large number of ship pages flashed in front of her. All the ships of the entire Longing fleet began to mobilize. The Moon-class cruiser comes forward, and the Helios firepower ship is ready to bombard with the sun cannon. DG, let the Hyperion retreat first, and let the Spear of Adon bombard these ships with the sun's rays. For a time, the entire Longing fleet was like an unsheathed sword, showing its edge. Loss. If you're enjoying my content, please consider donating a coffee. Or checking out my shirts on TeePublic. Report. There is an abnormality in the opposite Longing fleet. The ships under their command are all moving. Should we be wary of their ships? Hearing the crew's words, the Orion commander expressed disdain. Beware. There are hundreds of ships in the district, and their firepower is not enough for the Orion Star fleet. Hundreds of ships, what kind of wind and waves can turn up? For the captains of the Orion fleet, the only thing that can pose a threat to them is the two SS-class ships in the Longing fleet. Without these two SS-class ships, the Longing fleet would be nothing more than a small fleet. Thinking of this, the captain of the Orion fleet also waved his hand. The battleship continues to target the opposing flagship. As for the other ships, destroy the 093 ships of the Longing fleet. It's just a few hundred ships that don't even have an S-class. Our number is far greater than them. Isn't it easy to clear them? Boom. As soon as the voice fell, a sun cannon landed directly on a ship on Orion. The terrifying power of the sun cannon directly melted the ship into molten iron. Seeing the power of the sun cannon, Ling Bing in the Hyperion also touched his chin. Unexpectedly, when Su Yan introduced the energy of the sun fragments into the sun cannon, he was able to increase the power of the sun cannon so much. With the power of the sun fragments, the power of the sun cannon is directly increased by about 10 times. With such a powerful power, even Ling Bing was a little surprised. The face of the star captain Orion on the opposite side changed. He did not expect the face slap to come so quickly. The ships of the opposing Longing fleet, even if they are not S-class ships, actually have such powerful firepower? Rumbling. Before he could react, the sun god ship had already started a round of shelling. The artillery fire containing the energy of the sun fragments, like shooting stars, bombarded the ships of the Orion star. In an instant, a large number of ships were destroyed by artillery fire. The terrifying firepower also made many Orion crew members pale. Is this really the power that only A-class ships can exert? But the Dragon Hidden Fleet's attack is not over yet. Boom! The fire came on again. What's the situation? At this time, the captain of the Orion fleet realized that he was very wrong. Most of the time, the Dragonine fleet only needs the Hyperion to come forward to solve the enemy's reason. Not because their other ships are too weak. Rather, their ships are powerful enough to take out all enemies with just the presence of the Hyperion. Now, all the ships of the Longing fleet also have their fangs open. Boom! Another ship exploded suddenly, and a layer of cold sweat broke out on the forehead of the captain of the Orion fleet. What's the situation? Why did those ships explode all of a sudden? We don't know either. We didn't see any attack touching the ship. Could it be that the ship exploded on its own? How is this possible? On the warp interface, one warp submarine after another loaded torpedoes into the artillery. For a time, a large number of artillery attacked towards the Orion starship on the Shanghai interface. Those ships of the Orion fleet, just like the original orcs, didn't have time to react, and were directly destroyed by warp torpedoes. Rumbling. More and more ships were destroyed. The captain of the Orion fleet also panicked. Is this the true strength of the Longing fleet? Damn it. If I had known earlier, I would have brought some more ships here. Unexpectedly, the firepower on the opposite side was so fierce. If it goes on like this, let alone destroying the Longing fleet, I am afraid that his own life will not be guaranteed. Thinking of this, his heart begins to retreat. But at this time, the Longing fleet had already been mobilized. Just when they wanted to retreat, they found that the original retreat path was already surrounded by a large number of Moon-class cruisers. With their huge body, the Moon-class cruisers completely blocked the road they were retreating from. Once a ship gets close to a leapfrog cruiser, the Moon-class cruiser will tell them what it means to be truly cruel with its sheer size. A large number of lance artillery hits the surrounding ships like a torrential rain, and any ships that come close to it will be smashed into scrap by a series of attacks. Damn it! Look at their battle, they are planning to drive us out and kill us. It is hard to imagine that Orion's fleet consists of nearly thousands of ships. But now they are actually surrounded by the Longing fleet composed of hundreds of ships, and they are even in danger of being wiped out. Almost all the ships of the Longing fleet are made up of battleships with firepower, and their firepower is inherently incomparable. Moreover, most of the ships have more powerful firepower after being transformed by the mechanical priest, and even have the energy supply of the sun core fragments. Its power is several times stronger than before. No, if we continue to fight like this, we will definitely be wiped out. At this time, the captain of the Orion fleet also understood that if they did not ask for support from the headquarters, they would likely be damaged here. Therefore, he immediately sent a distress signal to the headquarters. But at this time, DG in the Hyperion also felt the distress signal from the opposite flagship. I thought how long these guys would last, but I didn't expect they were just a bunch of garbage. These guys have already started sending distress signals to Orion, and it seems they can't hold it anymore. Hearing DG's words, Ling Bing also sneered. Now I know they are afraid. They were extremely arrogant when they provoked the Longing fleet. I remember that the Hyperion had a brief signal blocking capability. Speaking of which, DG still doesn't know what Ling Bing is going to do. The corners of DG's mouth rose slightly, revealing a sly smile. Immediately afterwards, the Hyperion also turned on the space warp function in 2.6, and came directly to the other party's flagship. When he saw the Hyperion suddenly appear in front of him, the captain of the Orion starship also changed his face. But then, the crew said something even more terrifying. "Captain, it's not good, all the rescue signals we sent have been intercepted. There seems to be a signal shielding device on the opposite ship, and our ship's signal can't be sent out." What? The captain of the Orion ship was also pale. There is no way to send a rescue signal, which means that they must fight to the end with the Longing fleet. Now that the Longing fleet is firmly in the upper hand, it is only a matter of time before the Orion star fleet is annihilated. That is to say, they are already certain to die. At this moment, Su Yan was standing in a wilderness. Looking up at the sky, I saw that above the sky, I could vaguely see a flash of fire after a fleeting moment. Ordinary people may not understand what happened when they saw the scene. But Su Yan knew very well that fire after fire was the fire of the ship's explosion. It seems that Ling Bing and the others have already solved the ships sent by Orion. And these firelights are the firelights from the explosion of the Orion ship. At this time, in the Orion Lord Hall, after the Orion Lord sent away the client Jean Luo, he also turned around and asked the secretary beside him. "I asked you to send a fleet to destroy Su Yan's Longing fleet, how are you doing with this? At this time, there should be some news coming back." Speaking of which, Lord Orion also looked out the window. As a new king, the Lord of Orion never imagined that Su Yan would come to his site to do business. If it was him before, maybe the two would not have any intersection. As the Lord of Orion, he still manages his own territory. And Su Yan, as a new king, can do whatever he wants. As long as he doesn't do too much things in his own territory, he won't ask. But it's different now, he has made a deal with that lord. As long as he can hand over Su Yan alive to that adult, he will definitely be able to obtain more powerful power. Thinking of this, Lord Orion also looked at his right hand. I saw that he slowly raised his right hand and clenched his fist. On the surface of his skin, wire after wire is attached to his bones like muscles. That's right, now all the executives of Orion have taken refuge in Iron Man. The first advantage of taking refuge in Iron Man is that they have the opportunity to transform into a half-mechanical, half-biological existence. Without the pain and distress, their combat effectiveness will be stronger. Even because of the transformation of their mechanical bodies, they can even break through their biological limitations and become more powerful beings. In the Xinghai, there are already many races who have turned to Iron Man in pursuit of this kind of power. Orion is not the first, nor will it be the last. And Su Yan, as Iron Man's #1 wanted target, the order to arrest him is also known by various cyborg transformation races. As long as I can capture Su Yan alive, I might be able to receive a higher level of mechanical transformation. After all, Lord Orion also looked at the secretary next to him. At this time, the secretary's face was tense, and even his lips were trembling. Seeing this, Lord Orion also narrowed his eyes slightly. What? Did something happen to those fleets? 35. With a plop, I saw the secretary kneeling directly on the ground, and then said tremblingly. Report to the Lord, since an hour ago, we have been unable to contact the fleet. According to our satellite, our fleet is likely to have been wiped out by Su Yan's longing fleet. Also, Su Yan's longing fleet is still approaching our Orion. Hearing these words, the Star Lord Orion could not help frowning. How is this possible? Their fleet is composed of thousands of ships, while the longing fleet is only a small fleet composed of only a few hundred ships. How is it possible to beat them? But recalling the record of the longing fleet, the Lord of Orion also had to believe this fact. Boom! At this moment, a loud noise also made the Orion Star Lord's heart for a while. Then, he looked at the position of the sky. Who knows, when he saw this scene in front of him, his expression changed. I saw that above the sky of Orion, a large number of flames bloomed. One after another, missile attacks landed on Orion's celestial defense barrier. For a time, many people on the ground could not help but panic. You must know that the sky defense barrier is a planetary protective barrier that only rises when foreign enemies invade. This barrier is equivalent to the last city wall of a planet. Once it is broken, the planet will be completely exposed to the enemy's attack and will be powerless to fight back. What's the matter? How could Orion be attacked? Damn it! Where's the Orion fleet? What the hell are they up to? It's over, I just came to Orion to travel, it has nothing to do with me. Run! Isn't there a shelter on Orion? And at the moment, Jean Luo was driving a maglev car, and she also walked out of the city with sunglasses. Looking at the flowers of flames blooming in the sky, Jean Luo couldn't help but sigh. According to this attack frequency, it is estimated that this barrier will not last long. TSK, it looks like this barrier won't last long. Jean Luo also stepped on the accelerator with one foot, and the car galloped fast. Su Yan had reminded her before that his main target this time was the major cities on Orion. If you don't want to be affected, it's best to leave the city and head to the wilderness. And just after Jean Luo left Fanatic City, the barrier in the sky was also shattered. In the next second, a tactical nuclear bomb fell directly from the sky and landed in the Frenzy City. Boom! With a loud bang, a huge mushroom cloud rose from the center of Fanatic City, and a powerful energy shock wave directly swept the entire Fanatic City. The once prosperous and frenzied city turned into a pile of ruins in an instant. The smoke dissipated, and among the ruins of Fanatic City, Lord Orion slowly climbed out of the underground ruins. 093 saw that the bionic skin all over his body had been damaged, and the mechanically transformed body was also exposed to the air. What can be seen at this time is that almost 80% of the body of the Star Lord of Orion has been transformed into a mechanical body. Looking at the ruins in front of him, the Lord of Orion stared with anger. Looking up, the Hyperion cooperated with a large number of ships, passing directly over the planet. Next, they are ready to attack the next city. At this moment, Su Yan was standing in the wilderness, watching the Frenzy City turn into ruins. Lin Qingyue next to her also looked at the mushroom cloud rising in the distance. Su Yan, what are you going to do next? And Su Yan just said lightly, what else can I do? Continue to destroy until Orion's system collapses. At that time, there will naturally be people from the ancient empire to clean up this mess. Since the Lord of the Orion star is our enemy, we only need to destroy the entire Orion star to the extent that the Lord needs to be replaced. Also, I don't believe that Orion's fleet has only such a small number. According to the information transmitted by DG and the others, they destroyed 3,560 ships. These ships are too few for an Orion with a prosperous economy and even stargates. Well, where did the rest of their ships go? The scorching air waves brought by the shockwave of the nuclear explosion blew recklessly on Su-Yan's body. But his brows didn't even wrinkle. Overlooking the devastated urban area, stumps and broken arms shone with metallic light everywhere. And the ordinary flesh and blood has long since disappeared into flying ashes. The Lord of Orion has transformed a large number of subjects into a semi-mechanical state. Their collusion with Iron Man is already quite profound. Lin Qingyue's eyes observed more carefully. She noticed broken parts of the metal body, most of the fractures at the joints. The power of nuclear bombing can't destroy the metal body made by Iron Man into a powder state. It shows that their technological means have reached a rather terrifying level, and if they are used to make spaceships, it will be very difficult to deal with. Su-Yan smiled and shook his head, with an indifferent expression on his face. If the level of science and technology can become the decisive factor in the war, the peace of the universe will come long ago. Iron Man's cooperation with other races can also be seen as the rapid expansion of his own power. There are more people who are on the sidelines, worried that their strength will threaten their own interests, and they can easily win over and become allies. After putting down the rhetoric, Su-Yan returned to the longing fleet with a few people around him, and they wanted to leave here before the enemy organized forces to counterattack. The longing fleet descended to the height of the satellite orbit. Huge ships can even be seen directly with the naked eye by people on the ground. Su-Yan has made up her mind. Since you want to attack the enemy, you must let them feel the pain of the bones. Just at this time, the Moon Elk Star Fanatical Star has opened a hidden starport. It was originally a bare rocky ground. With the opening of the thick heavy metal gate, countless super-alloy battleships were slowly pushed out by the lifting platform. What Lin Qingyue was worried about has long since become a reality. Of course, Iron Man will use the most advanced metal manufacturing technology to build its own warships. According to computer simulation data analysis, the defensive cover of these battleships is several times stronger than the Orion barrier. In the command room of the main battleship, there is an Iron Man holding a scepter, and his identity is the fleet commander. From the outside, there is no difference in the appearance of all the Iron Men, and they all shimmer with a cold metallic luster. It is very likely that it is produced by the same factory assembly line. I didn't expect that Su-Yan led the longing fleet to dare to openly provoke a war. He really ate the guts of a bear and a leopard. Many Iron Man Alliance strengths have put him on the most wanted list, and if he flees to the ends of the earth, he will be hunted down. The adjutant standing next to him whispered, "Sir, don't underestimate the strength of the longing fleet." According to the latest news circulating ahead, several important cities of Orion have disappeared from the nuclear bomb attack. This method can only scare the ants on the ground. In addition to the attack force of direct explosion, the thermal radiation, shock wave, sound wave and other killing means of nuclear bombs cannot effectively spread in the vacuum environment of the universe. What's more, our warships are made of super alloys, and it's no problem to crush the hidden dragon fleet. Luo, the commander, thought victory was in his hands. Already fantasized about using Su-Yan to gain more military exploits for himself. After making a route, Iron Man's fleet set off towards Orion. At this time, the communication signal of the Star Lord of Orion came over. "Respected Iron Man Commander, I hope we can fight side by side to eliminate the Hidden Dragon fleet as soon as possible." After they attacked several cities, there are still no signs of evacuating. It seems to be determined to set the entire surface of Orion on fire. Iron Man must do his best to maintain every important ally. This is in line with their power expansion needs. The commander replied calmly. We are already on our way, and it is impossible to give Su Yan a chance to escape. The cities on the ground are not sacrificed in vain. They will consume the inventory of weapons and ammunition of the longing fleet, and the next battle will be more beneficial to us. Understood. I will now design the formation of the fleet to surround Su Yan's retreat. The communication signal was cut off, and the expression on the Lord's face became even more sinister. His eyes fell on the monitor screen, where the numbers of battle damage kept scrolling. 240,000 buildings collapsed, 80% of the main road network disappeared, and 3,300 energy stations were blown up. 550 emergency warehouses holding food, fresh water, and medical supplies were blown up, literally cutting off the last hope of survival on land. The Lord asked with gritted teeth. The emergency warehouses are all buried tens of meters underground and are built with reinforced concrete and bulletproof armor plates. The design criterion is to have extraordinary defensive capabilities, so why are the numbers of losses so staggering? The secretary carefully slid the mouse and read out the trajectory of the landing point of the warhead. Strong defense does not mean invulnerability. Being hit by a nuclear bomb 2 or 3 times in a row will reach the limit. It may be that the Hidden Dragon fleet attacked just right, just above the emergency warehouse. It's just nonsense. After the war, we must strictly investigate the information leakage incident. I don't believe that Su Yan's attack position is all imaginary. Orion's main battle fleet is advancing rapidly, and it is expected that it will be able to make direct contact with the target within an hour and a half. The two sides attacked Su Yan together. I believe that this time it is difficult for him to fly with his wings attached. The Hidden Dragon fleet floated in the sky above Orion's star like a god of death, turning into flaming flames wherever it went. The promise is good. Su Yan felt that the attack level was almost the same, so he ordered the fleet to continue to raise the altitude. The battle between spaceships is best out of the gravitational range of the planet. Otherwise, it will increase the consumption of energy and greatly reduce the speed of its own action. Lin Qingyue asked in confusion. How long can I stay here? The Lord of Orion may be killed, and the continuous battle will put a heavy load on the warship. It doesn't matter. If the Lord of Orion does not bring people to kill, I am a little disappointed. My purpose is not as simple as destroying the city of Orion. We have to collect some interest from these guys before we complete the ultimate goal. Otherwise, if the guys from the ancient empire come over, we won't even be able to drink soup. Right now, these guys on Orion are just paper tigers without self-confidence, otherwise it would be impossible to take refuge in Iron Man. The deep night sky is like a sea of stars. No matter how large the fleet of battleships is, it seems insignificant. The Iron Man commander watched the fleet speeding toward the coordinates of Su Yan, and couldn't wait to start this war in his heart. As everyone knows, the mantis catches the cicada oriole behind. The spies of the Libra Empire were wandering around on a reconnaissance ship, and the radar screen just caught the unusual movement of the fleet. The whole black reconnaissance ship is like a smooth marble, minimizing the volume and surface area, and blending with the dark night. They often appear in every corner of Shanghai, sending information back to the Libra Empire's Strategic Command Center. Why are there so many red dots? Quickly read the high-definition images. Where is the fleet of the Iron Man Corps going to carry out the mission? The specifications of the warship seem to have been upgraded again. The heat radiation emitted by the propulsion engine is 30% higher than the conventional model detected before. The scouts had solemn expressions on their faces. On the battlefield, at the scale of the universe, firepower output is not the decisive factor for victory or defeat. The engine power and propulsion speed of a battleship have a more important meaning. Able to dodge and dash over long distances. Their direction seems to be Orion. Hurry up and contact the brothers in charge of the area over there to see what happened. Okay. The encrypted communication system is activated. Several more reconnaissance ships of the Libra Empire established contact with each other. The spy asked impatiently. Is there a fight on Orion? The Iron Man fleet is rushing over there aggressively, and it looks like it's about to go to war. You are absolutely right. Su Yan is leading the Longing fleet to slaughter the city. Lord Orion has gathered all the main battleships together to fight against each other. The situation became clear. Orion has taken refuge in Iron Man, and the two of them will work together to kill Su Yan. Before a few fleets meet head-on, we must inform the Empire's Strategic Command Center of the intelligence. Brothers, be careful, don't get involved. The pitch-black reconnaissance ship changed direction slightly, getting further and further away from the sky above Orion. A silver tower with a height of thousands of miles stands on the edge of the bustling city center, which is the strategic headquarters of the Libra Empire. Follow common architectural ideas. The more important it is, the more it should be buried deep underground. Make sure you don't get hit by unexpected fire. But the Libra Empire did the opposite. They are showing their strength to the whole universe, which means that no hostile force can get close to the mainland. After listening to the report of the reconnaissance ship, the regional commander Descartes put down the coffee cup in his hand thoughtfully. The Iron Man race is equivalent to the cockroaches of the biological world. It is tenacious and has amazing reproductive ability. They can go through the factory assembly line, increase the population at an ultra-fast rate, and can go directly to the peak of the life cycle without wasting time growing. Orion is not the first to take refuge, nor will it be the last. The secretary standing next to him could already hear Descartes' angry tone. Any race is powerful to a certain extent, it will breed the desire and ambition to expand. We can't let Iron Man continue to increase allies, we must unite with Su Yan to suppress them. Do you want to connect the communication of the Longing fleet for the adults? Get in touch. A few seconds later, Su Yan's figure appeared on the huge high-definition screen. The two of them are old acquaintances, and there is not much restraint between their words. Descartes asked with a smile. I heard that you have ignited a raging war on the surface of Orion. Are you not afraid of the other party's retaliation? I had to do it too. Iron, DBCG, people used despicable means to put my name on the wanted list of multiple forces. There is no need to hold back any longer. Su Yan was 100% confident in the strength of the Longing fleet. He wants to wait for the Star Lord of Orion to appear for a head-to-head confrontation. The victorious outcome of this battle is very meaningful to Su Yan. Other wanted posters may weigh their own strengths, and they will not provoke Su Yan at will until they are absolutely sure. Longing fleet is detached in strength, strong in troops and strong, and it is not a problem to traverse the Sea of Stars. 9. It's just that the situation has changed again. Iron Man is leading the enhanced version of the battleship fleet to Orion, and it seems that he is about to deal a double blow to you. You shouldn't just talk to me about these important information, right? The pressure of the battle did not make Su Yan show a nervous expression at all. He saw some hope in the face of the regional commander Descartes. It's a joy to deal with smart people. Mingren, don't speak secretly, the Libra Empire will send a fleet to support you. Winning this battle is not the ultimate goal. Curbing the disorderly expansion of the Iron Man race cannot allow them to turn the entire Star Sea into cold metal. Su Yan nodded solemnly. The strategic partnership between the two parties has been tentatively settled. After closing the communication screen, Su Yan focused his attention on the battlefield below. The intelligent analysis and calculation of the computer can find out the most important target of the city, and the powerful firepower coverage will never let the other side miss any fish. Yet another city, in a fiery red mushroom cloud, vanished into ashes. Sitting in the battleship, Su Yan could only see the dazzling and bright fire, but could not feel the deafening explosion and the shockwave of rapid force. Lin Qingyue finally discovered Orion Lord's fleet from the radar. The enemy will appear in about half an hour. Do you need to make some adjustments? Then go for a walk around the ruins on the ground. I just want to collect the metal body samples of Iron Man technology, and if I take it back and analyze it, maybe I can find the weakness. It's too dangerous. Don't worry that the opponent's main gun will aim at your own territory. No lord would do such an unpopular thing. It's nothing more than a battle between ground teams, and it's like a regular meal for me. A small patrol ship brought Su Yan and the few people around him to the ground. Not far from where they landed, the ruins of the warehouse were revealed in the firelight. Su Yan looked at the contents, and immediately became interested. Buying walked in the front. Just waving the palm a few times, the violent compressed air blows the flames away. Su Yan picked up the things on the ground at will. These are all parts that have not yet been assembled, Su Yan said in a cold voice. Have pity on these flesh and blood Orion people. How many were willingly transformed into cyborgs, and how many fell victim to Lord's Point 35? Mechanical civilization cannot bring immortality, and the constant reincarnation of survival and death is the irresistible law of all races in the universe. Several predators searched the warehouse, and soon there were new discoveries. Not only did they bring back several ore samples, but they also smashed a safe and sent the information inside to Su Yan. It turns out that the role of this warehouse is to provide raw materials for the factory assembly lines in the suburbs of the city. According to the logistics supply list in the safe, the ore ratio for producing these metal bodies can be easily analyzed. As for Iron Man's advanced smelting and forging technology, it is still unknown for the time being. Su Yan showed a satisfied smile. After the war is over, we can also carry out a wave of upgrades. 99. It's a pity not to use good technology. Iridium ore, fire cloud crystal ore, BiAi ore, starstorm fragment. When his eyes swept across the surface of these colorful ores, he recognized most of the types. After all, Su Yan also has many certificates of A-class starships, and his head can be called an encyclopedia. As far as I know, Wujin ore and helium energy ore are not produced on Orion, and the nearest ore veins are also located 15 light-years away. It is quite possible that Iron Man transported such precious ore material here for further processing. Lin Qingyue felt a little incredible. Due to the material of Iron Man's body, they would regard ore as more important than life. This is common sense that the entire Shanghai knows. Being able to take the initiative to transport the ore to the Allies' place shows that their relationship is really extraordinary. We don't have time for a more detailed investigation. Fortunately, the ground industrial infrastructure has all been destroyed by the war, and it will take at least 5 years to rebuild it. 99. The deafening explosions around him gradually faded away. Su Yan couldn't wait to turn on the holographic imaging system and connect it to the high-definition camera of the patrol ship. After the transformation of the body, the strength and survivability have also increased several times. There are many ordinary people who escaped in time and could not survive the explosion. The holographic image showed the figures of many people, making them stunned and motionless. What has actually happened? It's possible that the cyborg also needs to receive the command signal, and with the tower destroyed, they don't know what to do. 39. Su Yan shook his head helplessly, feeling sorry for Orion's new civilization. The self-consciousness of organisms can become an inexhaustible driving force for advancing civilization, but cold metal cannot do this. The Iron Man, whom the Lord of Orion took refuge in, was equivalent to cutting off the civilization direction of his planet. We must speed up the analysis of the secrets of the metal body. At the same time, the negative effects of the cyborg body are announced to the entire Shanghai, and I don't believe that the Iron Man will still be able to sit still. Those races of Shanghai who are going to take refuge in Iron Man will probably change their minds at that time. That's called murder. It is the best policy in the art of war to attack the target without spending a single soldier or soldier. Lin Qingyue next to him glanced at these reformers and sighed. Many planets are carrying out related transformations in order to improve the strength of the team, whether it is replaced by mechanical products or injected with various biochemical agents. The replacement of flesh and blood bodies is the general trend. The casualties of ordinary soldiers must pay high pensions and compensation. There is no need to worry about this aspect of mechanical products. Sufficient or raw materials and factory assembly lines can support the frontline battlefield. Whether you like it or not, it's an open secret. Su Yan thought for a moment and then pointed out the most fundamental point. The personal wishes of ordinary people on the planet are the criteria for distinguishing between good and evil in the transformation plan. Could it be that everyone on Orion is willing to become such a ghost? Spreading the news will cause the general public to be vigilant, and the pressure will be passed on to senior management through ballots and elections. The decisions made will have concerns and constraints. Lin Qingyue also strongly agrees with this point of view. The heart of the people is the crux of the problem. The planet lord is the supreme ruler, but he must not become a dictator who does harm. Countless spots of light appeared on the radar screen of the Hyperion at an altitude of 10,000 meters. Ling Bing couldn't help frowning slightly. Why are there so many Orion main teams? We didn't encounter any resistance to our previous bombing, and we thought they had run out of ammunition and food. At this time, DG glanced at the red dot on the radar and said lightly, "It doesn't matter how much the quantity is. It is very likely that some semi-finished products or old models from the factory were rushed to the shelves in a hurry. Report the situation here to the captain and see what he plans to do with these fleets." After all, DG also transmitted the information to Su Yan's technology watch. Lin Qingyue next to him also received the news. 0. The Orion main battle fleet has entered the specified range, and free shooting has begun. Then I will prepare a big surprise for Lord Orion. With that said, Su Yan walked to the open space outside again. His figure appeared on the screen of the battleship command room, making the Lord ecstatic. This ignorant boy dared to run out and wander around, and immediately transported the transformation team to the ground. No matter how much the sacrifice is made, Su Yan will be captured alive. Yes. 35. Su Yan, Lin Qingyue, Bai Ying, plus a small number of predators. The combat effectiveness of this team is particularly weak. Lord Orion mistakenly thought that a good opportunity for a pie in the sky appeared in front of him. All warships retreat for 500 kilometers, open the energy barrier and do not launch active attacks. As long as Su Yan is caught, the entire Longyin fleet will be obedient and become my possession. 99. The losses from the destruction of a few cities can be completely made up for. The secretary stood beside the radar and reminded cautiously. Lord, the Iron Man fleet has not yet arrived here. Do you need to wait for the other party to start together? There's no need for extra ramifications for this trivial matter. Thousands of transformed human warriors are enough to control a few of them. Countless black figures appeared in all directions, rushing towards Su Yan's location. Their actions swept up smoke and dust, making people feel murderous. Thank you for watching Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share and subscribe. Have a great day.